What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so I believe it was yesterday I did a video talking about the hearsay. Well, I don't even want to say hearsay. Stephen A. Smith had hinted. He's been hinting for quite some time that he's considering just the idea of taking a run for the presidency. But then he would say, I don't really have any interest in it. But then he says, at the same token, pun intended, at the same token, well, if I did choose to run, I know I can mop the floor with the field that's out there. And he seemed to have a strong belief that he would wow everybody with his debating skills. And I guess he felt like that's all it would take. He pretty much said that time and time again he didn't really want to run. But then recently, he gave an indication that he may actually be considering running. So today, on his podcast, he went a step further. He gave the reasons why he would not want to run. He talked about the fact that he's not a natural politician. He doesn't have the desire for the glad handing and all the other things that you have to do to build your, brand, so to speak, as a politician, to build your cojones, as far as being one of the top dogs in that field, basically kissing asses of other officials and other politicians and local politicians, and getting that network support, that base of support, as far as trying to get a major run. Doesn't like politicking, had no desire for that, kissing the ass of donors to get the money to help, all of the other tedious things you have to do that people don't see behind the scenes, out of the camera view, that you got to do to be a politician. Not to mention the underhanded, sneaky, backstabbing stuff they do. He also talked about how if he became a politician, that there would be a serious pay cut, considering that he's going to be making, rumored to be $25 million a year, whatever the case may be, plus other financial endeavors and investments he has. But then he said, over the next 4 years, he's going to probably make enough money to be comfortable for a few years, insinuating that if he became president for a term, maybe two, he would be financially, I guess the term would be solvent for a few years, until he leaves office and becomes a private citizen. Because he said he loves the capitalist system. But this is what he said. He said that if the people organized a grassroots effort to get him on the ballot, I guess, and shown an interest in him actually running I'm assuming he means in the primaries, then he would consider the idea. He would consider the idea. Now I'm going to make the assumption he means running as a Democrat. He talked about how he would be a breath of fresh air, a centrist Democrat, not far away out there, as the Democratic Party seems to be now, as far as what they embrace and common sense approach to issues, and a middle of the road type guy, a centrist, right? These are my thoughts. Number one, um, the Democratic Party, although beaten, is not dead. It is far from dead. Let's all remember that even though Kamala Harris lost all 7 swing states, right, she still got 48.4% of the popular vote. She still won 226 electoral votes. She still carried, I think, 19 states in the District of Columbia. That's far from a blowout defeat. This ain't Walter Mondale 84. This ain't George McGovern 1972. She's not Barry Goldwater 1964. She was competitive. She just underperformed compared to Biden, who actually won. So the Democratic Party is not dead. Also, you better believe, because these things are cyclical, you better believe, I have no doubt in my mind that the Democrats are going to make massive gains in the midterms in 2026. It's clear as day now that Donald Trump and his administration are indeed trying to implement much of, if not most of, the so-called Project 225 initiatives, or project, I should say. They're definitely doing that. They're pissing off a lot of people. And not only are they pissing off a lot of people that are on the left, because they're not only are they doing or going through what the Democrats feared they would do, they're being assholes about it, and basically like rubbing it in the Democrats' face, right? Not only that, they're pissing off. I don't have no sympathy for them myself. I have no sympathy for them, but they've totally pissed off a lot of people, especially Latinos, and ultimately some white women and white people in general who voted for Trump. So you better believe the Democrats are going to make gains in 2026 midterms. I'm certain of it. So if that's the case, right, if anything, the left will be more emboldened in 2028. Why move to the center if they're possibly going to make gains in 2026? So if anything, the way I look at it, Stephen A. Smith he would be a non-factor. I don't know who would support him. First of all, let's not act like the Democratic Party doesn't have its own brand of racism. Trump is a phenomenon. Trump was able to infiltrate the Republican Party because he picked up on the backlash racism that occurred in this country after 2 years of Barack Obama and a leftward lurch of our culture that definitely occurred under Barack Obama. He was able to tap into that anger that was there under the surface all these years that we thought that we were making some sort of post-racial progress. So if we go through 4 years of Donald Trump, If anything, there's going to be anger from those who are on the left. The anger is always on the fringes or the third fringe. The centrists, although we tend to call ourselves centrists, most of us, I'm not one of them, but most of us still tend to vote as far as one of the two major parties. But it's the fringe that dictate the party's platforms at this point in time. That's how far out the parties have got. So, like I said before, if anything, what's going to happen is the anger is going to embolden the Democrats to be just as far to the left, if not even more so. So, you know, Stephen Swift talking about how he's a centrist, that's not going to work. This ain't 1992. See, in 1992, when Bill Clinton ran as a so-called centrist Democrat, the left had been defeated for quite some time. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy Carter, although he was sort of center left, was considered a liberal, right? Although he kind of lost too because he didn't have the full support of the liberal base of the Democratic Party. Walter Mondale was a liberal, blown out in a 49 state Reagan landslide. 1988, Michael Dukakis, another liberal, blown out in a 40 state semi landslide. That pushed the Democratic Party to embrace someone Southern and someone who appeared to be on the surface at least, moving to the center. Although when Bill Clinton actually served his first term was actually more liberal. Then the Democrats lost the House and the Senate in 94. And then Bill Clinton, listening to the advice of Dick Morris, moved to the right, center right, I should say, adopted much of what Republicans were putting out there and won in that electoral college landslide in 1996. So what I'm saying is, Stephen Swift doesn't have a shot at hell, doesn't. But I'll say this. If he ran as an independent, let's just say he just ran as a third-party candidate. I never underestimated the stupidity of the American voter. I could see him, if he actually had a serious campaign, if he was really, really serious, I'd give him 1% of the vote. I'd give him 1%. If he had enough backers financially, I'd give him 1.5% at best. But, nah. He's not a good politician. And that's the thing. And plus, although he is a member of the Fourth Estate, and being a member of the Fourth Estate would give him some influence, more influence than normal within the media, because he's one of them, he still would have some baggage, because if you're the opposition, let's say you're a fellow Democrat during the primaries, Stephen Swift has a long history, going back over a quarter of a century, of sound bites and video footage and audio of things he said that would be absolutely deleterious for him if he ran a campaign. So that's just how I look at it. Basically, out of all of that smart shit I just said, he ain't got a snowball's hell and chance of winning the nomination for the Democratic Party. But as an independent, if he ran, if he still chose to run, I don't put it past him to still get a couple of 100,000 votes. I don't. Maybe even 1 million votes. If he was serious and he ran a serious campaign. But I don't think he would do that. I think he's just talking. And to be honest with you, I think this is just more of some type of gimmick. You know, we're seeing more of that with Shannon Sharpe and Stephen Swift, just gimmicks. Gimmicks to stay relevant. You know what I'm saying? Stay in the algorithm, etc., etc., etc. But anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.
Core real.